My friend was talking to me recently and he said a big financial decision he made, which was not wrong, by the way, in a full context, has led to more spending for him. He got a house and then had to change a couple of things to standard and to his taste levels. So that one financial decision has created or triggered many other smaller financial decisions. And I told him there is a name for it. It is something psychologists call the Dero Effect. This is the tendency for one purchase to trigger a chain reaction of more purchases. This is a common trap. And sometimes this series of purchases follow a major purchase that wasn't even necessary in the first place. So today I'm going to walk you through the minimalist money rules that separates people who always have money from people who never do, regardless of their income level, regardless of how much they earn. The first rule: calculate cost per use before any purchase. This basically means you should estimate the number of times you will use an item before you purchase it. Divide the cost of the item by the number of times you will use it. That will give you the cost per use. Imagine buying an outfit for £100 and you only wear it, say, twice. Then your cost per use is £50. If you buy another one for, say, £300 and you wear it over 10 times, for example, then it costs you £30 per use. And it turns out the expensive dress is actually cheaper when you look at it that way. And that's why I say, I don't really look at whether something is expensive. I look at, is it quality? Because if it is, then it is not expensive, as I will use it multiple times. But if I buy a cheaper item or an inferior item and use it only once or twice, then that can be more expensive. So before buying, always ask, how many times can I possibly use this before giving it away or before it gives way? It is the same with kitchen appliances. I still have a deep fryer that I may have used once or twice since I bought it. And my hair fryer, which was more expensive, by the way, has turned out to be cheaper per use. So always check cost per use. A minimalist will do this. The second rule: if it is a non-essential and requires debt, don't do it. Debt isn't just financial. For me, it is emotional. It is sometimes even psychological. It is basically spending future income now, when ideally you should be keeping a part of your current income for future use. Debt just sort of ties you financially to a decision that you've already made. Every time you finance a lifestyle, you reduce your options or your flexibility. So be wary of that. The third rule: get rid of anything that is no longer serving its purpose. You see, a minimalist ruthlessly would eliminate items that fail the replacement test. The replacement test is asking, if this item disappeared today, would I spend money to replace it? Just sell what has value, donate what someone else could use, and discard what serves nobody. You see, when I was relocating and I saw the amount of clothes I had in my closet, I was ashamed. And this was me after having a reset during COVID to stop being a collector. I collected again. I have taken a decision to never get to that level again. I don't even have a big closet anymore, unless I want to store the clothes on my head now, And I love how occasionally I would run through my items and donate what is no longer serving me. I even know people who would sell on Vinted or eBay the things they are no longer using, and they make a few bucks from it. So always check, what are those items that are no longer serving me, and get rid of them. Rule number 4, keep your house in modest. The home is often your biggest expense, and it's the easiest place to overextend. If you can afford it effortlessly, why not? If it makes you feel good, why not? If you cannot, then keep it simple and neat. People go into debt decorating, upgrading, furnishing spaces that sometimes they barely even use. And they do this just to maintain an image. Your home should support your life. It should not put you into debt that stresses you. Okay, rule number 5. Refuse the temptation to upgrade every single time. We live in a world that constantly pushes us towards the next upgrade. A newer phone, a bigger TV, a slightly shinier version of something that you already have. And companies design products and marketing messages to make us feel like what we have, is suddenly inadequate, even if it still works perfectly. I use a Samsung S24 Ultra, and my son has been telling me about the latest Samsung Triple Fold. I am not willing to make that spend unless I see how it can make my recording better. You see, this cycle just keeps us spending on spending, not because it improves our lives, dramatically, but because the industry depends on us perpetually replacing. We should know that not every upgrade has value, and not every new releases will solve a real problem. Minimalists recognize that, and they know that if it is not broken, we don't fix it. Rule number 6, make spending harder for yourself. The truth is that most people overspend not because they're irresponsible, but because spending has been designed to be effortless. One click, one tap, and the delivery guy is just outside. You have a package. Companies have removed every barrier between us and our money. To protect yourself, you have to intentionally hard back those barriers. Delay purchases for 48 hours or even 72 hours. And if it is still top of your mind afterwards, then go ahead and buy it. Separate wants from needs. Delete saved carts. Oh gosh, that's one. Just go delete saved carts so that every time you have to type it in again, you just have it reset. Do I really need this? And you see all those buy now, pay later. And on the flip side of this, I would say make savings and investing easy and automatic. You should set up, standing orders, set up automatic, transfers on salary day into your savings or your investment. And the goal largely is to make that the default and make spending a conscious choice. You have to think through that. Rule number 7 is about awareness. You can't control what you don't count. Count your possessions. How many shoes do you have? How many bags? How many do you actually use? You see, most of us own far more than we realize. Clothes we never wear, or the last time we wore them was 2010. Gadgets we forgot we even bought. Subscriptions we don't choose. Items that just collect dust. I remember we had gym equipment at home at some point. We hardly ever use them. Just daily collecting dust. When you count your possessions, it forces you to see what's adding value and what's simply taking up room. And I always like to remember that some people may need, these items better than me. Okay. Rule number 8, watch out for the Dero Effect I talked about earlier. You see that quiet push or force that turns one purchase into a chain reaction of spending. You buy one new item and suddenly everything around it feels outdated. A new outfit makes you want new shoes. It's not that you plan to spend more. It's just that new item is disrupting the harmony of everything you own, creating the pressure for you to upgrade everything else. So ask yourself, do I actually need this next thing? Or am I just trying to match the vibe? Rule number 9, check how you measure wealth. Wealth means different things to all of us. You see, minimalists will measure wealth by freedom, not things. The conventional measure of wealth is that the more you own, the wealthier you are. Wealth for minimalists is the ability to choose. They ask, can I leave this job? This job that is threatening my peace of mind, that is threatening my mental health. Can I leave it? Can I take 6 months off to handle a family emergency? You see, I remember when I was going to resign from a job once and I met with my coach, to discuss this. He asked if I can handle my expenses for 6 months if things do not go, as I planned. And I said yes. At that time, I could even do a year. And I resigned from that job without signing with another company and even then for me, that beats any material possession. The ability to walk away from something that is no longer working for me. That's the definition of wealth, for me. Rule number 10, don't upgrade your lifestyle as your income rises. Resist that temptation. It's called lifestyle creep. It's a trap. When your income rises, it is tempting to want to immediately upgrade everything. A big boy like me can't be seen living in this environment anymore. And then you upgrade to a nicer flat. And then that Dero Effect kicks in. Oh, this car doesn't fit this area anymore. Everyone here drives a Mercedes. Then you upgrade your car. I remember how my brother looked at my phone a few years back and said, I hope you don't take your phone into meetings. I had just gotten a new big job at that time. And he was asking that question. And I thought, why? He said, it doesn't suit the status anymore. Well, I upgraded. And you see, all these upgrades, when you're making them, it all feels harmless because you're earning more. But every upgrade locks you into a higher expense. And before you know it, the extra income disappears. And you're working just as hard with nothing to show for it. Lifestyle inflation keeps you looking successful on the outside. Yeah, while your bank balance shows otherwise. Rule number 11, stay off social media. Avoid the pressure or reduce it significantly. Unless we want to deceive ourselves, social media is expensive. Aside it wasting our time, which is a big deal, it just triggers wants, desire, and impulse buying for us. Every scroll exposes you to arts, influencers, a lifestyle that just continues to convince you that you need more clothes, you need more shoes, you need new everything. And then you start chasing trends. This is the latest style, this is the latest decor, this is the latest everything. When you step away from social media, that pressure reduces. And I know some people would say, oh, I'm disciplined, I can look away. Check your last 5 purchases. What or who influenced it? Let me know in the comments if it has anything to do with social media. I'm always happy to read from you. Okay. Minimalism is not about having less just for the sake of it. It's about removing what doesn't matter so you can fully fund what matters. If someone had told me years back that I wouldn't have a closet full of jackets in different colors or a shoe rack full of shoes in different colors and heights, I would have argued it. You see, the financial sense that found me since I relocated should have found me many years ago. I would have been a lot, better than I am right now. The difference in our financial status is not always about income. It is also about our decisions. And if you're thinking, I'm a low-income earner, it's going to be difficult for me, to become a millionaire, to be rich and all that, then you should see my next video. And I'll see you there.